Dan huwa il-bini tal-Uffiċċju tal-Prosekutur Pubbliku Ewropew fil-Lussemburgu, l-Uffiċċju ta' Prosekuzzjoni Indipendenti u Deċentralizzat tal-Unjoni Ewropea. F'dar l-Ewropa l-Belt iltqajna mal-Kap Prosekutur Ewropew Codruța Kövesi.
It's not enough just to detect crimes, you have to work on them, and this shouldn't be something randomly, it should be something consistent, and we should work together also to protect better the financial interest of the EU.
Dan l-interess finanzjarju tal-Unjoni Ewropea huwa fil-qofol tal-ħidma ta' dan l-uffiċċju li twaqqaf fl-2017 bil-kompetenzi ewlenija li jinvestiga, iwettaq prosekuzzjonijiet u jressaq quddiem il-qrati reati kontra l-budget tal-Unjoni Ewropea bħal frodi, korruzzjoni jew frodi fil-VAT f'aktar minn stat membru tal-Unjoni Ewropea. Il-każi huma komplessi u jinvolvu professjonisti varji.
It's about a multidisciplinary team to work in EPPO cases, because now we have the European delegated prosecutors that makes the investigations in the cases, and they have to be supported by the dedicated police officers and financial investigators and officers from custom to work in these cases. And these people has to be designated to work in EPPO cases. In this moment, we have a few police officers that are designated to work in EPPO cases, but they also still have national cases. And we have opened few complex investigations here in Malta, and we have only 2 prosecutors. It's important to say that these are complex cases that we are investigating. The main focus of the EPPO is to fight against organized crime. We are mainly focused on cases that have as an object of the investigation VAT frauds, expenditure frauds, custom frauds, and these are not, let's say, national crimes anymore. We saw in our activity that there are mostly cross-border investigations. Complex cases with a lot of people involved, with huge damages, and our focus is to recover the damages, to reduce the gap with VAT, and this means more money in the national budgets, including in the budget of Malta.
Akkumpanjata minn Yvonne Farrugia li hija l-ewwel Prosekutur Ewropew għal Malta fi ħdan l-Uffiċċju tal-Prosekutur Pubbliku Ewropew, il-Kap Prosekutur Ewropew spjegatilna il-ħidma li taffettwa liċ-ċittadini Maltin.
Our European delegated prosecutors are embedded in the Maltese system. They have the same power like the inquiring magistrates here in Malta. We apply the Maltese legislation. We go in court with our cases in front of the Maltese court. So we are not foreign institution. We are here to work together in the interest of the European citizens, including the Maltese citizens.
Il-Kap Prosekutur Ewropew spjegat li fl-aħħar sentejn l-uffiċċju li tmexxi ikkonfiska b'valur ta' aktar minn 700 miljun euro.
According to the last estimations, the gap in Europe it's 50 billion euros, the gap with VAT, year after year for decades. Now, having EPPO and working in this way, and we propose, you can reduce this gap. In 2 years of operation, we have seized more than values and goods and money more than 700 million euros. These are money that goes directly in the budgets, in the national budgets, in the budgets of the member states.
X'każijiet qed jiġu investigati hawn Malta?
We have around 12 ongoing cases now in this moment in Malta. It was a big investigation that we had an operation a few months ago, and 5 custom officers were arrested. It's a complex case. Behind this, it's an organized criminal group who operates initially in other member states, and after a while they move a part of activities here in Malta. But as I said, we have only 2 prosecutors, and they need to be supported by the police officers, by the financial investigators, by the customs officers, because if you are alone, we can't do almost anything. And you cannot be stuck in one investigation, a complex one, and to let the other cases without doing anything. Malta is not a wide point when it's about the criminal activities in Europe. It's not protected by this. We see in our activity a lot of criminal organized groups that operate sometimes from one member state, and they create damages in other member states. After the while, they move. They are very flexible. They are very well organized. They have access to a lot of resources. But the way how EPPO is working, having this decentralized structure, we have specialized prosecutors in 22 member states. In most of the member states, we have a support team for the EPPO formed by police officers and financial investigators. Also, we have at central level in Luxembourg financial investigators and case analysts, and we can connect the dots because we have access to all the information that are registered in 22 member states. We have access to national databases, to some European databases, so we can have an helicopter view. In Malta, we have legislative issues regarding the inquiry magistrates because our European delegated prosecutors has to have the same powers. But now I understood that it's a draft law that was prepared by the Minister of Justice, and I hope this problem will be soon solved. But when we speak at European level for the EPPO, our main challenge is an earlier revision of the regulation, because we have identified some gaps in EPPO regulation, especially when it's about the competence, the mandate of the European prosecutors, and how we can organize our activity, the mandate of the European delegated prosecutors. And I think if the revision of regulation will start earlier, we can improve our activity, we can be more efficient. We are in the best position to investigate this crime, this type of criminality, because like for VAT fraud, it's not national anymore. We have specialized prosecutors in 22 member states. We are sharing information very fast. We can work differently, and we do not have borders inside of the EPPO zone. Until this moment, there is an initiative started by the French and German authorities. And I hope that Malta will join very soon to this initiative, and they will support this extension of the competence.